Hey, welcome to Fanaticalsiderider. Today I'm going to be checking the gear oil in my rear differential, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'm also going to be changing the motor oil on this CFMOTO Zforce 950 as well as the filter. So the reason we're going to check the rear differential oil is the last time I changed oil in the rear diff, I made a mistake, and I want to thank one of the viewers who commented and told me something that I did not know. And I should have looked it up, but what happened was the last time I did the last oil change in the rear differential, I thought it was like a car, right? You just fill it up until the oil starts to seep out of the fill plug here, the fill hole. And that's not what you do with these. So what you're supposed to do is only add 400 milliliters to the rear differential. And what I did was, like I said, I filled it till the oil started coming out of the fill hole here. So what happened was, the first time I noticed this is I went for a ride. It was a long ride and a lot of back roads. And I was traveling at a higher speed, and the oil would, I guess it would get hot and it would kind of like boil up. And it came out of the overflow tube for the rear end. And it just splashed all over my exhaust and my linkage over here, my axle, that sort of thing. Not a big deal, but you could smell it, right? And I saw it leaking out once I pulled over. I thought, well, I probably overfilled it, and this is why it's doing this. And I looked it up quick on my phone, and sure enough, that's what it was. So then when I got home, the next day, I just parked it in the garage. The next day, I just came out here and I checked it, and when it was cool, I popped the plug here for the fill hole, and I put a piece of zip tie in there, and it was full right to the top. So I knew I was fine. And then I didn't think anything of it. And then I went for, well, this happened 3 more times after this, because I am kind of get lazy sometimes and I forget these things. So I kept, every time it happened, the gear oil coming out through the overflow tube, I bring it home, check it the next day, take the plug out here. It's always full. So I'm thinking, how much oil's in there, right? How could it hold so much? But yeah, that's me being me. I just kind of neglect things sometimes, and that's one thing I neglected and I shouldn't have. But no harm done, right? So today is the day we're going to check it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check, see how full it is. And I imagine it's full still. So what I'm going to do is I clean this drain tub here really good. And I'm going to drain that oil out because it's still good oil. And I'm going to measure out 400 milliliters of that oil. I'm going to put it in here. I got to clean this too, but I'm going to put 400 milliliters of oil, which is right there, that much. And I'll put it back in, and I should be good after that. So then when we're done that, I'm going to drain the motor oil. I'll probably drain the motor oil at the same time. I will see, but I'm going to be changing the motor oil and the filter as well. It's time for a change here on the 950. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So right here is our plug for the fill hole. I've already loosened it. So I'm just going to turn the plug out, and we're going to measure our amount of oil we have in there to see if it's full. Watch out, there's a crush ring on that. You don't want to lose that. So I'll go get a zip tie and we'll check out the level. I can smell it already, so I'm just going to put my zip tie right here at the, right at that level there, right where the hole is. And I can see a little bit of oil on there. I'll go down a little bit deeper. Yeah, see, I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, there's all kinds of oil on that. And I probably still have too much in there, so I'm going to drain it out. It's clean as a whistle. So I will drain it out, and we'll measure out 400 milliliters of it, and we'll add it back in. All right, the oil is drained out of the rear end, and I would say there's more than 400 milliliters in there. So again, my fault. I should have looked it up to see how much oil went in there. But hopefully this video helps you learn and from my mistake, and that you do it properly. So I got my measuring cup all cleaned out, and we're going to measure the 400 milliliters. Oh yeah, there's definitely more than 400 in here. So I'm going to stop right there because I think we're pretty close. It's a little dirty, but it's not terrible. We are at almost 400. Like I said, I've lost quite a bit, overflowed through the tube, but I'll show you exactly where that happened from. We are at exactly 400 milliliters, and we still have lots in the drain tub here. Look at that. Plus, I've lost probably that much over the last few times that it's overflowed out of there. So there, like I said, is 400 milliliters, maybe just under. So I'll show you where it leaks out. So it bubbles up out of here, comes up this hose from your rear end here, comes up here, follows the hose, geez, up here somewhere, up into here somewhere, and I think I got it. Yeah, there it is. And then it just blows out all over your shock and your linkage here and your wheel and your exhaust, and it stinks like heck, and it freaks people out when they're behind you. So that's exactly what happened. Like I said, it's not a big deal, but if you can prevent it, why not, right? Because it makes a mess out of everything. You got to wipe all this down really good afterwards, and yeah, it just makes a mess of everything. So now I'm going to add that into the rear end. But first, we're going to put our drain plug back into the rear end so we don't make a mistake and pour it back in. It pours all over our floor. So yeah, it goes back in there. Make sure you have your crush ring on for the drain plug as well. Okay, I got a plastic fill tube and I put it in the hole, and I got my tiny little funnel that it fits on. And I'm going to try and get this 400 milliliters in here gravity fed. We'll see how that goes. I have to go slow in case it'll probably take a while. I don't want it to overflow. Oh, you know what? I think it's going to go in okay. Yep. Yeah, I think we're going to do this pretty quick, actually. Good. I have fresh rear end oil for this, but you know what? It's expensive, and this isn't that used, so I might as well just use it, and that'll be good. So we have it all in, basically. Yep, it's all down the fill tube. Sorry if my arm's in your way, but that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And we'll put our fill plug back with our crush ring. So remember that when you go to do your oil, the rear is 400 milliliters. And if you're in the US, it might be something different on your manual, but look at your manual. It'll tell you exactly what you need. And I'll tell you what the front is as well. I'm just going to play it by ear. Just don't over crank them. So we'll go over here to my table, my bench here, and see rear gear case oil, 890, 400 milliliters. So 13.5 ounces. And for the front, same oil, 8090. The capacity is 8.4 ounces or 250 milliliters. All right, now we're going to change our engine oil. So right over here, this one here is our dipstick, and that's our fill hole for our engine oil, right up in there. And back here, which doesn't matter to you right now if you're not doing transmission oil, that's your dipstick and fill hole for your transmission right there. And this here is where your oil filter is for your engine oil. So we're going to remove this, but first we're going to drain our oil from the engine on the drain plug, which is right by that hole down there. Where's my finger now? I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, you can see it. See that hole there in my skid plate? That's where the drain hole is for the engine oil. So I'm going to get under there and drain it. Yep, it's the 19 mil. There we go. Cracked it. Get our drain tub here. And make sure you don't lose your crush ring. I'll probably get oil all over myself here. Yeah, There we go. And I don't have my crush ring. So that's what you have to make sure you have it, or else you're going to be looking in the bottom of your oil. All right, now we're going to take an 8mm socket and we're going to remove the 3 bolts that hold on the oil filter cover. Actually, we're going to get smarter about this. Okay, I got my Ryobi impact gun because it just makes life a little easier. So don't forget this vent line here, I guess it is. You need one of the bolts holds that up at the top here of your oil filter cover. And we'll just take out the remaining bolts. And I should grab a paper towel just because some oil is going to come out and make a mess. I'll just put a paper towel here, try to catch some of it anyway. There we go. We got our paper towel in place. Now we'll just take the cover off. Look at the oil pour out of there. Nice and messy. Grab the filter. Just throw it in the pan. Okay, I'm going to put some paper towel in here, just clean it out. Clean the face here where the cover goes, because the O-ring has to go back on there. So here you have your cover and you have your O-ring. Inspect it, make sure it's not damaged, clean it up. You can reuse it. If you get your oil kit from CFMOTO, it'll come with a new O-ring and a crush ring for your drain bolt and all that stuff. So what I did is I just ordered 2 filters yesterday. They come in a pair. I ordered 2 filters off of Amazon. And I'll leave a link to those below in the description of this video. And that's what I did before, and they work good. And it showed up today. So just make sure that this open end goes in first, back into the part here where the filter goes. There we go. Put your O-ring back on your cover for your oil filter. And, whoops. Can put it back in place now. Should stay there. I'll grab the bolts. And we'll put them all back in. And don't forget to add this vent line. Put the bolt through the bracket for it first. And then we'll button them up. Then we'll go underneath, put our drain plug back in the bottom of the engine. Tighten it up, and then we can start adding our oil. I will use my ratchet here to tighten these up. I won't use my battery powered gun. So I've already loosened the motor oil dipstick. We're going to take it out, give it a wipe. All right, today I'm adding the Lucas synthetic 10W40 oil to my machines. First time I'm using this. That's what I had access to, so that's what I'm using. I'll be adding 3 liters to the 950 motor. Well, there we go. Our oil and filter job is done. Our rear end oil has been checked and reloaded again. Hopefully we have no issues now, because there is a lot less gear oil in that rear end now, that's for sure. Again, if you think you can change your motor oil and your filter on your own, it's not that hard. Just follow the steps. It gets a little messy, but that's all right. Go ahead, do it yourself. I mean, the cheapest here in Canada dealership is $150. And it goes, I phoned around a few places, went up from $150 to $400. $400 is way too much. $150 is reasonable because it costs $90 for an oil change kit, and $60 labor isn't that bad. So that's not a bad deal if you're not comfortable doing it yourself. And if you do it yourself, get yourself some synthetic 10W40 motor oil. And like I said before, those oil filters, I get 2 in a package for $20. Now these are Canadian prices, US will be cheaper. But yeah, 2 filters for $20, shipped here the next day. I'll leave links below to those filters down in the description of this video, and I'll pin it as the first comment as well. And I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.